Hi guys, how's it going? Happy Saturday morning. I have my dandelion root tea here and ready to go. I would have had coffee, but I'm probably gonna snag some coffee later today. And so I thought I would start with dandelion root tea. I'll talk about that a little bit, dandelion root tea, I guess. But today, what we're going to talk about, actually I'll show you. I have my Dandy Blend here. Marcy Blassie got me hooked on this Dandy Blend. It's instant dandelion root tea, and it's awesome, and it's caffeine free, and it's a great alternative to coffee because it really kind of has a coffee type flavor, but it doesn't have the acidity of coffee. So, all right, I'm excited about this class, and I'm excited because I know how many of you feel overwhelmed by just the whole holistic crunchy thing. And so we are going to really simplify it, and we're going to take we're going to help with understanding, because I feel like sometimes there is a bridge that, or we're going to bridge the gap. There's a gap between the moms that kind of do things, or not just moms, but people that just kind of do things more allopathically, and then people that do things more naturopathically, and there's a lack of understanding there. So I'm going to try to bridge that gap. Number one, I am kind of middle of the road, I guess. I feel middle of the road. With a lot of my friends that know me, they'll say I'm crazy crunchy. But I know, because I know like people that are way more on this crunchy holistic path than I am. And so to me, I feel middle of the road. So just know that there is a spectrum. And so the first thing that we want to do is we really want to take any judgment out of any of this, that this is a journey, and we're all on different parts of the journey. We're all on different paths, and we all need different things in our lives. Everybody's body is different. Everybody's family is different. So the first thing that we want to do is just eliminate judgment. I feel like if you're somebody that's just listening in because you're really curious, this is going to help you understand that crunchy mama friend that orders the crazy, Starbucks drink without everything, or brings snacks for her kids and sends snacks. If you're a grandparent and your kids send snacks with your grandkids, because they have specific dietary needs and restrictions, and you have a hard time understanding that, this is going to give understanding, it's going to give compassion, okay? Because a lot of times the drive to do this isn't to do some trend or to, follow something that's just popular for the moment. Really, it is a desire to create a better lifestyle for ourselves or our children or anything like that. So let's kind of kill some myths. Let's do some myth busting right up front. Okay. So for the crunchy people, the crunchy mamas, the hippies, the granolas, whatever you want to call us, we are not all anti-doctor. Okay. My kids have a pediatrician. We have a holistic pediatrician down in Frisco that is kind of hard to get in to see. If my kids are sick and I want them to go into a doctor, she's the first place I'm going to try to get them. We also have a pediatrician here in town that's a little bit closer to us. We've been to him for sprained ankles and things like that. And he is, if I can't get into our other doctor, oh, hi, Tammy. Tammy's another crunchy mama friend. And so he's open to the natural things and things like that. And so we will go to him if we need to. So we're not anti-doctor. If I am in a car wreck and I break my arm, or I am laying there and, all bloodied up and I need surgery, please take me to the hospital and please let a doctor do surgery on me and fix me. Okay. Doctors are very necessary in our society. I think that they're wonderful people. We're actually going to be going to a swim meet this afternoon for a cousin's son, and the cousin is a doctor, and they're wonderful people, and we love them, and his wife is a nurse practitioner. Okay, so we are not anti-doctor personally. Yes, there are crazy crunchy people way on the far end of the spectrum that are anti any medical establishment and everything. But those are kind of the rare few, really. We avoid the doctor as much as possible. Okay, so that's kind of the difference there. We do avoid the doctor. We don't run to the doctor for everything. And this time of year, listen, you should be avoiding the doctor for everything. The last place that you want to go is sit in a doctor's office because it is full of germs. It is full of people that have been sick. So avoid it at all costs, okay? You do not want to go into the doctor's office. My son, this time last year, sprained his ankle really bad. We thought he may have broken something because it was still really bothering him like a few days later. And it was this time of year, I did not want to take him into the doctor's office. So I literally called his pediatrician and he sent us directly over to get x-rays. So we didn't have to come in and get looked at. Anyways, so tips and tricks there. The other thing is that we're not all crazy on that end of the spectrum. We're not all crazy over the top. I mean, I still bleach my hair. I believe in life balance, and I believe that I make some choices that may seem really extreme here so that I can relax in other areas. So life is about balance, and there may be times and periods of our life where we go to the extreme. I'm gonna try to shift this a little bit here. The sun is like filtering in through the clouds. Give me just a second. So I'm gonna fix this so I'm not looking all blinding. Oh, there, that's a little bit better. Okay, so it's not, oh, maybe that's not a little bit better. Sorry, I'll fix it. There we go, that's a little better. Okay, so it's not all the extreme. It doesn't have to be all one way or the other, and it doesn't have to be all one way all the time. Maybe for a period of time, you do things a certain way, but that's just for a period of time. So for our story and kind of what got us on this journey is I had a kid, and that's where a lot of us start our journeys. We have children and we start thinking about health and wellness in a different way. Hi, babe. Jason's giving me thumbs up here. And really one of the things that we realize is we now have a little person that is in our care, and we want to make the best decisions for them. And we're the first generation of parents that have access to all of this information. So it can sometimes feel like an information overload, like there's so much information, and there's conflicting information online. You can find information to support any stance that you want. So this is why parents are kind of taking extreme stances. They're kind of going, no, there's information out there for or against this. And so this is why I'm choosing this, because they go with their gut. They go with what's best for their family at the moment. And that doesn't have to be something that says just because we're making this decision doesn't mean I think it's wrong for you to make a different decision. I am one that's very much for parental rights and parental rights to choose. And so I think you need to make the best decisions for your family, and your decisions may not look like mine, and that is okay. All right. So we're not all crazy over the top. There is balance. And so let's talk about the basics. The basics of natural wellness are if I just sum it up in one sentence, it's if you give the body what it needs and eliminate interference, it can do what it needs to do. Okay, our bodies were created to heal. Our bodies were created to be vibrant. Our bodies were created to regenerate. So I don't know if you know this, but like every 8 years, my sister just came on here. You need to hear this, Brittany. Every 8 years, your body regenerates completely, like cells and everything. So you start making changes in your life, and you make those changes 8 years down the road, your body is going to be different than it was 8 years before, like completely different. So all of that is hopeful, right? It gives us a sense of control over things. Okay. So that's the basic. If you can just say, okay, if we can give our body what it needs and we can eliminate interference, we're going to talk about what those interferences are, then our bodies can do what they were created to do. And our bodies are amazing, insane, wonderful creations that can do way more than we give them credit for most of the time, okay? So let's talk about a little myth, and this is a big interference thing, okay? The myth is, I'm just gonna hit this one right off the top, that a fever is bad. A fever is not bad. A fever can be bad. If it gets really high, absolutely, fevers can cause problems, but a fever in and of itself is a good thing, because it is your body doing its job to fight what is in it. Fever is one of the body's first, it's not the first line of defense, but once something actually gets in there, that's the way when your body raises its temperature, It's saying, hey, if I raise it to this point, whatever is in here that is trying to attack me cannot survive. So when we then take fever reducing medicine, we are interfering with our body's natural way of getting rid of what we're doing. Not only that, but a lot of those are actually going to tax our liver, tax our kidneys, and all of that kind of stuff too. So one of the things that we eliminated pretty early on was fever reducers. We do not give our kids fever reducers. And over the years, in extreme cases, I mean, I think one time Noelle had a fever. I would do like lukewarm baths. We do things to keep them comfortable. And she had a fever that was staying about 102, 103. And I couldn't get it to come down at all. And because if it starts to get up kind of high, I'm gonna do what I can to get it down to maybe about 100, 101. That's where this mama, it feels more comfortable. And she was obviously not feeling good. And so I actually did egg yolks on the bottom of her feet. I did it on paper towels, soaked paper towels and egg yolks, and did egg yolks on the bottom of her feet. It sounds crazy. I have no idea scientifically why it works, but it did. It worked. It brought her fever down a little bit, did not break her fever, and she was actually able to recover better. So when you interfere with the body's natural way of fighting, you can actually prolong the illness. Isn't that crazy? We take something because we're like, okay, we want to feel better in the moment, but when you prolong that illness, that can cause major problems. You can have secondary infections and things like that. Hey, Karen. Okay, so I want you guys to just start to try to think about this is the foundation that we're going on. It's giving the body what it needs and eliminating interference. So, and it doesn't mean that if my kid were like, had a crazy high fever and having seizures and all that stuff, that I wouldn't take them to the doctor. Absolutely. You have to trust your instincts on that. And there are times when going to the doctor is necessary, and we're thankful that we have doctors. So I want to say there's always balance in this. But we've avoided in the last, goodness, how old is Noelle? Noelle's almost 9. In the last 8 years, 7.5 years, maybe 7 years, we have avoided giving our kids any fever-reducing meds at all. Doesn't mean our kids don't get sick. Their immune systems have been able to fight things off, but we have avoided giving them anything like that. So, and that has worked for us, all right? We've also been to the doctor for an illness during that time. And this is all of us once. In 6 years, about 6 years, we've been to the doctor once. All right? So, I'm just saying, it is possible. If you support your body well, it is possible. Let your body do what it needs to do. All right. So interference. What are some other things that interference looks like? Okay. The reality is we live in a day and time where interference is everywhere. Okay. I know my great grandmother lived to be like 95. She lived by herself. She literally would drive herself around town in her big 70s gold clunker. I don't even know what kind of car it was. The steering wheel was like this big and she could barely see over it. And so people are like, well, she never did any of this stuff and she ate whatever she wanted to. But most of her life she lived without the interferences that we deal with on a daily basis. Okay. So let's talk about what interference looks like. Interference is toxic chemicals, okay? All right, there are toxic chemicals in everything, and I know that you hate to hear that, and I know that it's hard. So I want you guys to just think about this. Look up, because I'm going to rush through so much of this stuff that I'm going to give you homework. I want you to look up petrochemicals. I want you to look up parabens. I want you to look up sulfates, like sodium lauryl sulfate. SLSs is what they're often called. And I just want you to look up the impact that those things can have on your body, okay? A lot of those are endocrine disruptors. Oh, that's huge, okay? And you put these things on your skin. These things are found in lotions, skincare, shampoos, makeup, things like that. You put these things on your skin every day. They go into your bloodstream and they can cause problems. They can clog up receptor sites in your brain. They're endocrine disruptors. Endocrine system, if you don't know, give you a quick rundown of the endocrine system, is what manages your hormones, okay? And I'm not just talking reproductive hormones. I'm talking serotonin and dopamine and adrenaline and cortisol. So your thyroid, your adrenal glands, your pineal and pituitary glands, okay, up here in your brain. So it's not, your endocrine system's not just reproductive, all right? It is reproductive, and it does have an impact on that as well. But I want you to know like the full scope and impact, okay? Because I'm gonna talk a little bit more about the endocrine system in a little bit. But I want you guys to just think about that. Endocrine disruptors are a huge thing. This is one of the things that I learned in our journey, that I had a major imbalance and I was showing up as estrogen dominant. But when I did a good detox cleanse and then I eliminated toxic products that I used on myself, or limited, because I do still bleach my hair, limited toxic products that I used on myself and my body, I was able to balance out my hormones. It was crazy how much better I felt, how much more energized I felt. So it's something to look into if you're dealing with adrenal fatigue, any kind of hormone imbalance, but even if you're just feeling super stressed, anxious, things like that, because adrenal fatigue and cortisol production, all that kind of stuff leads to those kinds of issues. I've got my notes down here, so I keep looking down. So toxins, avoiding toxins in our home. One of the reasons that this is really where we started, okay? Oh, I'm sorry, Ashley. Just keep trying. It's showing that it's going for me. Just come back in. It'll all be here later. You can check it all out. So one of the things that got us started on this is Titus was about 3 years old, and he was really struggling with his growth. From the ages of 3 to 5, he only gained about 2 pounds. He was struggling with hyperactivity and sleep and all kinds of stuff. And so we had started some different things. We've done some things, but finally at about the age of 5, we got him tested on for like a full nutritional spectrum testing. We got tested for food sensitivities, all that kind of stuff. And what we discovered is his body did not process toxins because he had major gut damage. Okay, we'll talk more about the gut in a minute. But he had major gut damage, and so one of the first things that I did was start eliminating the toxic products that we used in the house. I have one cleaner in my house, guys, like one, and it's Thieves Cleaner, and I use it for everything, okay? But there was a point where I still had Windex and Lysol and things that I used and washed my dishes with Dawn and washed my clothes with Tide. And it wasn't something that we did a switch all in once. It was really something that, I'm seeing people say that my video went away, but I'm here. So if somebody can see this, just let me know, because I'm not getting anything. I'm still seeing me, and it still says that I'm live. So let me know if you can see me, because I see Tammy saying that she can't. Candy saying that it sent me a message that said she can't. But if you can hear me, okay, Keely can see me, awesome. All right, so I'm gonna keep going, and hopefully when the replay comes on, you'll be able to see it all later. So we started eliminating toxins in our home. It wasn't an all at once thing. It wasn't just like, we did a lot of it at once, but really it was a journey. It was something we did a little bit at a time. We changed a couple of things. Oh, good. Okay, so lots of people are seeing me. So those of you that can't, maybe just log off and get back on, and maybe you'll see. And so really it was a step-by-step process, but it was something we had to do. So when these moms seem a little bit fanatical, know that you don't know their journey. You don't know what they're going through, what their kid has gone through. You don't know. So instead of seeing their choices as judgment towards you, or instead of maybe kind of being like rolling your eyes at their choices, try to give them the benefit of the doubt that maybe there's a lot going on. That was a very, very hard time. There was about 4 years that were really, really hard for us. I homeschooled Titus. He couldn't function in a classroom for kindergarten and first grade. They were difficult times. When your kid only gains 2 or 3 pounds over 2 years, that's a pretty significant thing. At an age when they're supposed to be growing, quite a bit, that's a significant thing. And you start worrying about their, not just, cognitive wellness, but their physical wellness. And the thing is, holistically, it's all connected. your cognitive wellness, your mental health, your emotional health. I'll talk more about this later. Your physical health, all connected. You cannot affect one without affecting the others, okay? And spiritual health, I'll throw that in there too. Okay, so the other things that we did, so if you can eliminate toxins and you can eliminate the products that are causing problems, the next thing is there are natural ways that our bodies are interfered with just throughout the day. So what is one of our major communicators of our body? Our nervous system, right? So our nervous system communicates between our brain, is the communication process between our brain and every organ in our body. So if we can make sure that communication system is working well, it's going to help tremendously. So one of the first things we also did was start seeing a chiropractor. We made sure, and we see a chiropractor every 2 weeks as a family, but we started with Titus, and chiropractics was amazing for him. He was not sleeping through the night. It was taking him 2 hours just to get to sleep at night. At the age of 4 or 5, he was still wetting the bed. He was having nightmares every night. And when we started seeing Dr. Christy Corder, I would refer you to her, but she's about to go RVing across the country, so I can't refer you to her. But go find a good chiropractor. Chiropractics is amazing. Within a month, he was sleeping through the night. He had stopped having nightmares and bad dreams. He had some subluxations up here. He stopped wetting the bed. He had subluxations in the base of his spine. So even though he was fully potty trained during the day, those signals were not strong enough to his brain at night to wake him up when he needed to go to the bathroom. So things like that, like our body, if our body can communicate well, it can know when it needs, it can fix things. It can know when it needs to get up and go to the bathroom. It can help with, I know if I'm out up here, I feel brain foggy. I feel like maybe more moody, a little bit more anxious if any of my like C1 or C2 is out up here. And Christy will always tell me, oh yeah, you had a C2 out. And I was like, I thought maybe I did. Sometimes headaches and tension and things like that can be caused by subluxations in the spine. I was doing yoga this week, and I noticed when I would do downward facing dog and have my arms out that I would get pressure in my head that caused a headache. But if I just bent over to touch my toes and do like a forward fold, it wouldn't. I was talking to my yoga instructor about it. I was like, it was just really weird because I could feel it. It was really uncomfortable. I wouldn't call it a headache or a migraine or anything like that, but it was uncomfortable in my head in downward facing dog, but it wasn't uncomfortable in a forward fold. She said it probably has to do with your shoulders, and maybe you've got some nerves that are being pinched in between your shoulder blades. And I thought, that's probably true. Went to the chiropractor that evening. Guess where I was out? In between my shoulder blades. When I was pregnant and I was dealing with indigestion and I'd go to the chiropractor, guess where I was out? In between my shoulder blades. It's amazing, really, how much those things affect our bodies. So chiropractics, that helps your body work without interference. Okay. Chiropractics, endocrine disruptors. Okay, so what are some of the things that we do to support our bodies, to give our bodies what it needs? If we're eliminating interference, if we are, and I'll talk about some other interferences later, but I want to give a little bit better foundation first. Then we want to give our bodies what it needs. That's nutritionally. So the gut is so important to not only your immune system and your cognitive health, but it is important to every system in your body. It's crazy how much look up the gut-brain connection. It was one of the things that we learned when Titus was not processing toxins well. We learned that it had to do with gut issues. It had to do with his gut, I don't know if you call it leaky gut, but he had some gut damage. So we had to go on a pretty extreme diet where we eliminated grains and really limited sugar for about 5 weeks, and we noticed huge improvement in his cognitive health. Like, it was pretty crazy, the improvement that we saw. Some things that we did were add in, high antioxidant supplements because his body wasn't getting enough antioxidants and things. And then I'm going to tell you guys, you cannot eat. It is almost impossible, unless it's the only thing that you do, to eat balanced enough to not need external supplementation. Our soil is depleted of nutrients. So even the food that is grown is not as nutrient dense as it once was. So I'm going to show you the supplements that I take every day. I take Ningxia Red every day, antioxidants. And then I take, you see this? Okay, this is gonna look like a granny pill box, okay? I had to get the big ones. It's like I really need to get the extra big ones. But I take like this. I can't even follow the days. I can only do this for 4 days because this is what I take, this whole thing. And there is a B supplement, there's a C supplement, a super B, so it's a B complex supplement. There is a C supplement, there's calcium, magnesium, there's a adrenal support supplement, a desiccated adrenals, there's a thyroid supplement, there are omegas in here, fish oil, sulfurzyme, which is one of my favorites. Did I grab sulfurzyme and bring it in here? No, sulfurzyme is an amazing supplement with organic sulfur, MSM. Go look it up. It's amazing. Magnesium. Okay, natural calm. This is the form of magnesium we use. A lot of people say that magnesium is a foundational mineral that your body needs. If you are calcium deficient, you need to be taking magnesium because your body cannot absorb calcium without magnesium. If you, some people say that putting it on your skin is actually the best way to get magnesium into your system. So Epsom salt baths, that's kind of hard to do every day. So if you have the time and you love to soak in the tub for 20 minutes every day, go do it. Awesome. Epsom salt's great, but you can get magnesium flakes and make your own magnesium oil, or you can buy magnesium oil and put it on your skin. That's supposed to be one of the best ways to actually get magnesium into your system. We use this because my kids will do it, and it tastes like raspberry lemonade, and it works for us, and we love it, and we have great results with it. So this is what we use. A lot of the supplements that I showed you over here are Young Living supplements, but not all of them. I get desiccated adrenals. I got them from a friend. I know that Standard Process has desiccated adrenals that are really good. So the point is to learn what your body needs and what works for your body and where you need the extra support. That's huge for me. I know that my adrenals need the vitamin B. I know that my immune system needs the vitamin C, especially this time of year. And I know that my brain needs the omegas. And overall, I feel better and more energized when I am on my sulfurzyme. It is foundational. Plus, it makes my hair and skin look and feel amazing. Okay, so supplements are a big part of it, but also kind of debunking some of the nutrition myths. Okay, just about food. There are all kinds of crazy diets out there that are fad diets. You know, keto is a big one right now. Paleo has been around for a while. Paleo is one that we're pretty big fans of just in general because it was a modified paleo diet is what we went on with Titus that made a huge difference. But one of the things that I've learned is fat is not bad. When I was young and growing up, that was a big thing. Fat is bad. You got to do low fat this, low fat that. If you want to lose weight, if you want to be healthy, low fat is the way to go. Your brain needs fat. Like, I don't remember what percentage of your brain is fat, but it's pretty big. And so when you start eliminating fat from your diet, it can actually cause major issues cognitively. So fat is actually good for your brain. Are there good types of fat and bad types of fat? Absolutely. Do you need to have balance? Absolutely. But fat is not bad, and it is not something that you should avoid. Eat all the avocados that you want. They're amazing for you. They're so good for your brain. Coconut oil is amazing. I love coconut oil. That works well for my family. I know some people have a coconut sensitivity and they can't do coconut oil, but it's an awesome one for us. Eliminate things like canola oil, which is like something that was created in a lab. Eliminate corn oil. Corn is as a grain and corn is something that's really, really difficult for our bodies to digest. We still love our tortilla chips in our house. So I know that's a hard one, but if you get rid of the corn oil and the high fructose corn syrup, you're going to see some major differences in the way that you feel. So sugar is really a big thing. Sugar is in everything, and sugar is a problem. I have one more day after today of a 21-day sugar detox, and I have learned that sugar is in absolutely everything. Artificial sweeteners, for the most part, aspartame, sucralose, all that stuff, horrible for you, created in a lab. There are some good ones, monk fruit and stevia. I'm not even allowed to have those on my sugar detox because I'm supposed to be eliminating my need for the sugary or the sweet taste. I've cheated a little bit in that regard. Had a little bit of stevia here and there. But the reality is that the sugar lowers your immune system. It lowers your frequency, and sugar feeds cancer. So when you are, even if you feel like you're doing really great. So I'm one of those people that, man, I could eat yogurt and fruit and probably live on it. I love, but you know how much sugar yogurt has in it? Dairy in general tends to have a lot of sugar, even if it's not added in, like most yogurts have sugar actually added in, but even dairy on its own has a decent amount of sugar. And then fruit, oh my goodness, fruit has a ton of sugar. So balancing that, is fruit bad for you? No, nobody's gonna say that fruit is bad for you, but you should have more vegetables than fruit in your diet. And that's one of the areas that I'm probably gonna try to keep and change because it's been a long journey. And I'm gonna add stevia back in. But finding what works for you. So gut importance, focusing on your gut, focusing on healing your gut. What are some things that are healing to your gut? Good fats are healing to your gut. Probiotics are healing to your gut. Enzymes, I got some probiotics here, Life 9 probiotics. This is Young Living's. I forget to take it because I don't take it with all of my others. I take all my others at the same time and then I have to take this one at night. And so I forget to take it a lot. Enzymes. Oh my goodness, you guys. So when we went paleo and we eliminated grains from our diet, we all kind of felt better. But we like to go eat Mexican food and go have a burger and life happens. And we find that when we go and eat grains, this is amazing, these essential enzymes. So enzymes, digestive enzymes that actually help your body digest the food that you're eating is really, because when you're able to break down the food you're eating, your body's able to actually pull the nutrients from it. Enzymes are going to help support your gut in doing that. There are gut healing diets. Paleo, if you are somebody that deals with a lot of gut issues or even a lot of cognitive issues and you have a lot of food allergies and stuff, I'm going to recommend a book to you that will change your life. It's called Gut and Psychology Syndrome. And it has a diet protocol in it, but the whole first part of it reads like a textbook. And it is all about the gut-brain connection, about gut healing, what it takes to heal your gut, and it is phenomenal. It's the book that I read that really kind of put things in perspective for us when we were dealing with all of our issues with Titus. We didn't do the full GAPS diet. We started paleo and we saw such great improvements with that was enough for us. But even if you aren't going to do the full GAPS diet, it is such a helpful book. I've recommended it to so many people. It can change your life. Go read it. It's going to teach you a lot about nutrition. It's going to teach you a lot about some of these foundational, minerals and things. Another really great book is, oh my goodness, now I'm not going to be able to think of the name of it. It's by Sally Fallon. It's Nourishing Traditions. And it's all about nutrition from cultures, like traditional cultures and how they handle nutrition. And it's actually a cookbook and has recipes in it, but it also reads like a textbook on the front end. And one of the things I learned from that is, okay, gut healing, probiotics. Probiotics are not just things that you get in a capsule that you take. Probiotics are actually, you can get them in foods, lacto-fermented vegetables, things like sauerkraut. And so this is where things start to get kind of crazy when you have friends that are making sauerkraut and drinking sauerkraut juice and making kimchi or kombucha, right? Kombucha, fermented tea. Or I have had people be like, what in the world is that? And what are you drinking? But those things have good probiotics that can feed into your system, are actually really, really amazing for you. Great for gut health, great for gut healing. So some people get really extreme into making their own lacto-fermented foods and vegetables. Some people just buy them and make them a big part of their diet. Some people just like to take the probiotics and hope for the best. We go through different things. Yeah, Dolores, I don't either. I actually bought I think a class session for how to make all of these like fermented things and lacto-fermented things several years ago, and I have never used it. I think I was like, for Mother's Day, I was like, this is what I want. I want to learn about all of these things. And I learned about it and I never did it. So there's balance, but I do have friends that do it and they're amazing. They make their own sauerkraut and their kids like drink the juice, and that's awesome. So, another thing is dairy. Okay. So for some people, dairy is something that they need to avoid. Grains, for some people, gluten and grains is what they need to avoid. But I want to just hone in on dairy for just really quick since we're talking about fermentation and things like that. Dairy is an issue, is something that we do cheese, but milk we really don't lean on very much. When Noelle was younger, she actually struggled when I started weaning her and switching her to milk, that she could not do cow's milk. It made her sick. So we kind of did almond milk for a while and some other things, but then I started getting raw milk from a dairy up the road from us, and she did great with that. So looking for raw, if you're lactose intolerant but you love milk, you might try, I'm not going to say it's like a fix-all or anything, you might try to find a dairy. I know Jersey Girls does some delivery. There are co-ops, and if you're in the North Texas area, there is an unlimited amount of co-ops where you can get raw dairy, or places that farms within driving distance where you can go and just pick it up. But what I learned about that is when you have the milk that separates, you get the cream on top, you can make your own yogurt from that. Not only that, if you just leave the milk sitting out, it doesn't go sour and bad like pasteurized milk does. The bacteria and probiotics and stuff that are in it are really good, and you can actually have like coddled milk. I think it's curdled milk, but it's like coddled cheese. It's not cottage cheese, but it just sits out, and you can actually use that in smoothies and stuff. Very good. If you're okay with like a sour cream, cheesy type taste and flavor, but adding it into smoothies, it's just like adding Greek yogurt or something like that. But you can make your own Greek yogurt and things like that. I actually have done some of that at times. So some of those things are really great options if you're looking into going that direction. All right. Again, there's a spectrum, and I did that stuff for a while. I don't do it so much anymore. Okay. The next thing that I want to talk about is frequency. Okay. Frequency is something that when people start hearing about energies and stuff like that, it sounds very new age. It sounds very hokey, and some people shut down. So that's why I kind of didn't want to add frequency in early on. I wanted to talk to you about things that sounded a little bit more normal and natural, and that you would be a little bit more understanding about. So let's talk about frequency. Number one, let me help you understand that frequency is not hokey. Frequency is scientific. Frequency exists. We all have our own frequency. When there are scans, medical scans that they do to test your frequency, I can't remember if it was an MRI or what scan it, or a CAT scan, what scan it does that actually is looking at the different colors of your body because of frequency. But they use this in the medical profession, okay? It's not crazy. And we understand frequency when it comes to art, right? I'm a theater person, so this is something that helps me understand it. When we hear certain tones, we know music has a frequency, right? Like when you hear a tone, that each tone has its own frequency. That's scientific, like that's known. That's not something hokey or crazy. Any music person will tell you that. Every tone has a frequency. And when you put certain tones together, they have a specific frequency. And that can evoke certain emotions in you, right? When you hear certain tones together, it gives you maybe a warm, comforting feeling. Maybe it feels kind of sad. Maybe it feels kind of scary and foreboding. Maybe it feels like exciting. There's a lot going on, and the frequency is that energy of maybe a fight or okay, music can do that. Art can do that because colors have a frequency. Colors have the ability, when put together in different shapes and different angles, to evoke emotion in us and make us feel a certain way. And we're always going to kind of filter that through our own perspective and our own experiences. That's why art is subjective and not objective. But there's still an understanding of that connection between frequency and emotion in art, okay? Starting with that. There's also frequency in the world, all right? The earth has a certain frequency. Our homes have a certain frequency. Electronics have a certain frequency, and that electronic frequency is actually very positive. Like it gives out positive ions and positive energy. The earth has negative energy. So electronics, the electromagnetic fields that we are constantly in today, are actually interference in how our bodies work and how our bodies process. I know that all of that kind of sounds kind of crazy, but how do you feel when you go take a walk through the mountains? When you go on a hike and you don't have your phone with you? Does it feel relaxing and calming? How do you feel when you're sitting at your desk and you got your phone in your hand and you've got your laptop on your lap and you're, working, or maybe you're in the office or whatever all day and you're around all these electronics? It's kind of draining and exhausting, right? Okay. On one, you're sitting and working, and the other, you're out and you're hiking, you're moving, but one is more energizing and more calming, and the other is more kind of exhausting. All right. So one of the things that we do that I probably shouldn't do is we actually charge our phones right by our bed. That's something I'm trying to think about a way to get around, because my phone is my alarm clock. So maybe I need to buy an alarm clock. But that phone frequency should not be that close to me all night long. Like, eliminate electronics from your bedroom is a really great, I haven't done that yet. I'm going to be totally transparent here. I haven't done that yet, but to eliminate electronics from your bedroom, you would sleep better. You would sleep more peacefully. So the biomat's a huge thing right now. The biomat is kind of a grounding thing. It has to do with frequency, with helping your body balance and have the frequency that it needs. You can get biomats that go between your laptop and your lap, so that the frequency of your laptop isn't like touching you. There are biomats that go on your mattress so that you're sleeping better and kind of ground. You can buy grounding sheets. There's this whole earthing thing where you can go and walk around outside barefoot, which is a huge thing. My dog right now, animals know this. It's crazy. I've actually watched him. My dog has an injury to his leg, and I've watched him go out and lay in the backyard. At first I thought, it probably just feels nice. The sun's out. But when it was 20 degrees outside and it was freezing cold and windy, he still would spend at least 5 minutes laying outside in the grass. And it's because his body knows that grounding himself to the earth helps balance out that frequency. We live on a concrete slab with, wood floors. There's a lot between our feet and the earth here. And so that frequency, just look into it. It sounds crazy and it sounds hokey, but when you start researching it, it's really very scientific and it's really crazy. But frequency is not just found in things, in plants. Oils have a frequency. I haven't even talked about oils yet. Oils have a frequency that comes from the plants, but it's not even just that. Emotions from other people have a frequency. And you know this because when you walk into a waiting room in a hospital, you can feel the tension. When you walk into a room after two people have been arguing and you didn't even see any of the argument, you know almost immediately something's off in here. Like, what's going on? You start looking around you feel it before you see physical evidence that these two people aren't talking to each other, right? That is frequency. When you are around negative people and negativity, you feel it and it affects you on a physical level throughout the day. When you're in a high stress environment, that affects you. Not only because your cortisol probably skyrockets and that suppresses your immune system, but it affects you physically on a physical level. And so those frequency lowering things actually can cause and make it easier for our bodies to harbor disease and have all kinds of problems. So paying attention to your frequency is big. And there are some ways that you can do that. We don't have a biomat. That's one thing. One thing you can do is you could bring in plants into your home. That's huge. My sister's really great at that. My mom's really great at that. I kill plants. I have I have a brown thumb. Do not have a green thumb. I'm not great with plants, but bringing plants into your home is a great thing. This is a Himalayan salt lamp, and I have these throughout my house. Himalayan salt actually has a really great high frequency. And you can buy the pink Himalayan salt and actually eat it. It's a great option for salt in your diet because it has lots of great minerals in it. But if you heat these, they actually help put negative ions into the air and kind of combat some of the positive ions that come from electronics. You can buy shields for your phones. I think some of those are kind of hokey, but there are good ones out there that you can get. And I don't even know which brands to recommend. But we have a salt lamp in our kids' rooms. We have salt lamp in the office. I'm not always good about turning them on. In fact, I've gotten out of the habit of turning them on. But as I'm researching all of this, I'm like, man, I need to get back on this. I've learned a lot of things that I've kind of gotten out of the habit of. But the other thing is oils, using oils for frequency. Jim Bob said this yesterday on a video he did, and it reminded me, but coffee lowers your frequency. And that's really a bummer. But then I remember that oils like Idaho Blue Spruce are super high in frequency. So I'm going to drink my coffee and I'm going to apply my Idaho Blue Spruce, and I'm going to know that life is all about balance, right? So oils have a frequency. And so the oil Joy, let me see, I have it here, I think. Yes, I do. Right here. This is one of Noel's favorite oils. The oil Joy, it seems kind of crazy that there would be an oil called Joy. Because how can an oil make you joyful? I can tell you it's one of Noel's favorite oils, and it does help her a lot. We probably need to use it more often. Just keep it out. And I put it in a spray bottle once. In fact, I think Carrie Lavelli does this where she has Joy in a spray bottle, and she uses it when she's around people that are being cranky. She'll just be like, oh, I'm just going to spray some of this on me. And then she's surrounded by a bubble of joy. It's kind of amazing. But joy it has the frequency of that emotion, a joyful emotion. Okay, it is a blend of different oils, but it's blended for that purpose. And that sounds kind of crazy, but use it. Like, try it out, because it's amazing how much it works. There are oils like Valor and Believe that for me are very grounding. When I'm feeling kind of scattered and all over the place, if I'm feeling that kind of electronic drainage, if I use either of those two oils, I can feel balanced and I can feel more calm and relaxed. And it's pretty amazing. And you find out which ones work best for you, and it can be an incredible way to support you. Not only that, just energy-wise, nutmeg over my adrenals. It's like having a cup of coffee. Probably don't need the coffee, but I love the way coffee tastes, and it just makes me feel good. It's like chicken soup for my soul. But emotions affect your body, okay? Taking care of your emotional health. I talked about holistic health and whole body health. So I want to end here with something that is so important, and it's so crucial to your life, and it's so overlooked. Your emotional health. In fact, if you listen to Dr. Caroline Leaf, who's a Christian neuroscientist, Carolyn Mine, there's so many different people and experts out there that will tell you that physical issues are almost like, they say like 75 to maybe even 95%, the root issue is actually an emotional one, okay? Our emotions have such an incredible effect on us. We're actually doing a workbook study. Jason and I are with some Christian therapists, and they're talking about a lady that had a root issue, and that she couldn't really figure it out. And it was actually like a memory from when she was a baby. She didn't even remember it. Like, she found out she was in a car accident when she was like less than 1. And she was fine. They actually took her car seat out, set her on the side of the road, and they were dealing with her mom, who actually was in, dire need of support. And they loaded her mom up into an ambulance and took her to the hospital. And she wasn't able to see her mom or be with her mom for like a week because her mom was in the hospital. And she was trying to figure out the root issue of this feeling. And she's an adult, feeling like she was going to be abandoned, feeling like she was going to be left. And she didn't even have this memory. Like, it wasn't an active conscious memory. It was something that she actually talked to her mom about and found out that this was, this was something that happened to her. But that was a root memory that she had. And when she started recognizing it and dealing with that, she was able to let go of the anxieties of, this person is going to leave me, or that huge fear of abandonment that she had. So it's really, really incredible when you start learning about emotions and emotional health and how it affects us. But we know this. We know that when we get depressed and when we get stressed, we get sick. It happens. I mean, it happens to me when I go through periods of being high stress and I don't support my body well. I really, really have gotten, the last couple of years, I have learned how to support my body extra during those times of just crazy busyness. And the last couple of years when I've done it, I've not gotten sick. But for years, I would go through, I'm a very driven person. I will overbook my schedule, and I will go through a month of crazy insanity. And I remember doing a show. We did White Christmas. When I was in the middle of White Christmas, the week of dress rehearsals, we moved into this house. So we closed on a house and moved. I was in the middle of dress rehearsals. We did the show, opened the show, and 48 hours later, flew to the Dominican Republic to go on a mission trip. And so crazy. Like just that is always at least 1/4 of my year looks kind of like that. And so I've learned to support my body extra through those, because I know if I don't, that stress, that, energy expenditure will actually cause me to break down. It'll cause me to get sick. It lowers my immune system. So just learning to support your body and learning to support your emotions. During this time of my mom going through the cancer thing, I actually started meeting with a counselor, a therapist, and it has been really, really helpful for me. Because I know that I tend to internalize stress. I'm going to like hold it all together on the outside, and I'm going to have it, go to the doctor and all that kind of stuff. But I knew I needed an outlet of a place to kind of release some of that in order to stay healthy through all of this and keep my emotional health in check and really stay positive emotionally. So I want you guys to just think about your emotional health. Do you deal with a lot of negative thoughts? Do you deal with a lot of, negative emotions? Are there emotional boundaries that you need to set between you and some people that have some of that? That's something I've had to do over the last few years too. It's just set boundaries around people that bring negativity into my life. I think I'm not talking about just friends going through a hard time, okay? We need to be there for our friends going through a hard time. We don't shut them out. I mean, people that just tend to have drama and negativity, putting boundaries around that, protecting yourself, using oils like white angelica. I've heard that Palo Santo is really great for this too. It can be really great for just protecting your energy. I tend to be an empath, but I'm an internal feeler, which means I internalize my emotions. They come out, ask Jason. I seem like I'm emotional and connected because I can release some of that. For the most part, deeper emotions I internalize. So I can't watch videos of kids starving in Africa. Like I cannot do it. It messes with me. I cannot watch the news and hear about things that have happened to kids. Like I'm like, if something horrible has happened to a child, don't tell me. Like, cause I will think about it and mull over it. And I internalize that. So I have learned to protect myself unless there's something I can do. If there's something I can do to help, absolutely let me know. But if there's nothing I can do about it, please don't tell me. I know that this world is crazy and crazy things happen. I know that. I'm aware of that. And I don't need to know all the details. So if you're like me, I have to really be careful and limit my time around people that just have negativity. I have friends that I can spend a day with, and even if they're going through a hard time and I want to be there for them, that maybe at the end of the day, I'm just exhausted. I'm just like done and I'm spent. And so I need to spend some time being poured into, spend time with my husband, talking through those things, talking about that kind of thing, talking through how I feel, and that can seem really selfish. I went through some hard things with a friend. I didn't go through hard things. My friends went through hard things this past year. Okay. And I spent a day with them, like just being there for them. It was a crazy hard thing, and I was there for them and I held it all together, and I got home and I like melted down, and it was hard. Like I needed to talk about how hard it was for me. And that feels selfish sometimes when someone else is going through something hard, but you so need it. Whether you're a caregiver long-term or whether you're just there for a friend in need, find somebody that can support you so you can better support them during those times. That is not selfish. That is taking care of yourself. That is good stewardship. That's what all of this is. It's good stewardship of the body and the life that God has given you, guys. Okay, so emotions, pay attention to your emotions. There is this wonderful technique called Aroma Freedom Technique, and it is all about releasing negative emotions and negative thought patterns. Dr. Caroline Leaf actually has a 21-day brain detox where it's about letting go of those negative thought processes. Some of those we get passed down to us, okay? You get those negative thought processes and emotional things from family. Some of them are generational, poverty mentality, things like that. They're generational, and you have to work through it because it was just so ingrained in you. But you can make those choices and you can make those changes, not just for you now, but for following generations. And it becomes a different legacy. And I believe that on a genetic level too. Dr. Caroline Leaf talks a lot about epigenetics. So genetically, absolutely, there are things that genetics play a part in our propensity to have certain disease issues in our bodies. Sure. But you have to switch those on. You have to just kind of flip that switch. Why is it that everybody with the genetic markers for cancer doesn't get cancer? Why? If it automatically meant you would have it, then every person that had that genetic marker would get it. So why do some people get cancer with these genetic markers and some people not? Because of the choices they're making. There's something that they're doing in their life that the people that get cancer, there's something they do to switch that flip that switch on, okay? And there are choices you can make to turn it off. There are choices that you can make to make a difference. And it's not just about the physical things. It's not just about the nutritional things. But I absolutely 100% believe that a lot of it has to do with your emotional health, and emotional roots to physical issues, okay? I do not have time. It's a whole nother lesson to go into the emotions and how to release emotions. Aroma Freedom Technique, look up that, because it has to do with using oils and psychology to uproot emotional trauma and negative thought processes. So anyways, all of this to say, I said I would keep this in an hour and I got 4 minutes. And so this was foundational. Goodness, I did not even go into everything that crunchy mamas do, but I gave you a good foundation. I gave you some good knowledge here to help you understand the thought processes behind, okay, why do moms do cloth diapering? Okay, well, I told you that because they're avoiding interference, and diapers that have, that regular diapers that you buy in the store, disposable diapers, have chemicals in them. And so they don't want to put those chemicals up against their baby's skin all the time. So they do cloth diapering instead. So a lot of these choices that moms are making that seem kind of crazy and outside the box almost always stem back to giving the body what it needs to do what it was created to do, and eliminating interference, okay? I would love to hear your questions. If you have a crazy crunchy friend that does something crazy and you don't know why, post it below. Maybe I won't, it might be something I've never heard of, and I'll go look it up and tell you why they do that and how it relates back to this core fundamental issue that our bodies know what they're doing. Our bodies are brilliant and are created in an amazing way to heal and to be vibrant and live a life of energy, okay? So I want you guys to just think about that. Think about changes that you can make, even if it's something small. Every change you make, even if it's just, hey, I'm going to start drinking purified water instead of tap water, because tap water's got all kinds of interference issues, things in it, then that's a huge thing, because you got to drink lots of water. Maybe even just drinking enough water to help eliminate toxins. That's a huge thing. Water can be a foundational thing, all right? I love you guys. I hope you have an awesome day. Those of you that weren't able to get the video to work, I hope you're able to watch it on the replay, and feel free to share it. It's public, so you should be able to share it from this event, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.